This is Elena Wagner on April 5th, 2012, with Anthony Thomas.
So, Anthony, when and where were you born?
I was born November 12th, 1990 in Berkeley, California.
Cool. So, Occupy has become a pretty big buzzword in the news and in everyday vocabulary. What do you think of Occupy?
I'd say I, in very broad terms, identify with their overall sentiment that class inequality and unequal distribution of wealth is a problem in the United States. But I think the movement as a whole is very myopic, misguided, and it's been hijacked by people who have the luxury of protest. And I don't think it really represents either the true issues that are behind maldistribution of wealth, and I don't think it represents the people who suffer from it.
So, what do you think Occupy has a future of doing?
Very little. I think that it was a popular movement, and it did a good job of getting these sorts of issues into the news and into common discussion. But sort of by its very nature, it doesn't really have like a political future.
And what do you think a more effective way of dealing with income inequality would be?
I think the basic problem is not this current financial crisis or that we have greedy executives. I don't think that should surprise anybody. I think the real problem is that we have an apathetic legislature and an even more apathetic voting population that doesn't know and doesn't care about most of these issues. And so in that sense, Occupy is good in that I think it does get people who otherwise would be even more blasé about these things to care about them. But I think the real issue is that we need an educated population that votes. And when that happens, we'll have a stronger, more effective regulatory system that will prevent the sort of excess that led to the current financial crisis.
What do you think about the rhetoric of the movement talking about the 1% and the 99%?
Well, I think drawing such a sharp contrast between the 1% and the 99% is it's disingenuous and frankly naive. I mean, if you're in the 3% of wealthiest Americans, you most likely identify with and are much closer to the top 1% than the 97% or the bottom 3%. And so, to say that the top 3% are in the same boat as the bottom 3% is just, I would find it pretty offensive if I was in the bottom 3%, because the suffering of the top 3% is minimal compared to the suffering of the bottom 3%. And I think, if you look at what the very, very bottom of Americans, if you look at what their issues are, they're really not even that relevant to a lot of the rhetoric of the Occupy movement. You're dealing with really, really persistent urban or rural poverty that's really I think a much more deep-rooted issue, with capitalism itself than income inequality between the lower middle class and upper classes.
Thank you very much, Anthony.